Guys, along the signal again. Um, oh, for fuck's sake, seriously. Like I was saying, I'm not going to be able to get the stability and consistency that I need to sustain this as an actual business, because people who've never been self-employed don't realize that when you're self-employed, you are responsible for everything. You are responsible for, you have to keep a timekeeping. When I got in a relationship with Aaron and Faith's dad, I find it really difficult because I was already self-employed, I was already established. It was school holidays. And for those that don't know, I'd just come on live a minute ago to say that I will do the end it video. I'm just not in the right frame of mind for it right now. And I just want to get a couple of little things that are niggling and pissing me off my chest first before I sort of go into this video. And before I got cut off, I was just trying to pull up, it might do it to me again because it's the internet, but it's also not just the internet because it's coming up with stupid messages that are cutting me off now. But Lara Bloom, who is like the main sort of person for EDS, I'm trying to just scroll down to find it. I have just posted it on my wall, but here we go. So she's put a picture up of herself and it says across it, "It's not in your head." And what she said is, and this is exactly why I've got to the point now, I cannot be around any person, be it a social worker, be it a doctor, be it a police officer, be it my own family, be it my partner, be it, well, ex-partner, be it my neighbours, any person. I cannot be around any person now who does not understand that I have a legal diagnosis for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. My son went and had all of the blood tests done only a couple of weeks ago, and he got his results yesterday. Confirmed, 100% positive EDS. Not in my head. So this is what Lara had to say. One of the hardest things about living with an invisible condition is that very often people don't believe you. Before my diagnosis, I had years of people telling me that what I was feeling was in my head. Reading what Jamila J. Official has had to put up with over the last few days with being accused of having Munchausen's, it's a very sad reminder that this still goes on all the time in every country, because something is so multi-systematic yet unseen, yet unseen, is too much for people to understand. We see this then have a domino effect when children are unnecessarily taken from their families or not given the access to the management and care. Management, can I reiterate these words? Management, yes, management and care they so desperately need. It needs to change. Living with a rare, chronic or invisible condition is hard enough. People, even from within our own communities, judge others and their experience with the condition. I wish social media was a kinder place and that people still didn't have to constantly remind people that their very physical conditions are not in their head. Despite the frustration, I have hope that we will get there one day. Have you had to deal with people telling you it's in your head? Now, as you know, once End It is over today, and then once I've done my message for Valentine's Day tomorrow, my pure focus is all on getting my article in, which is going into the main EDS magazine. I'm going to be going over to America and getting over to Paris for the EDS conference and getting back into exactly what this was all about for me, because one of the reasons that I spoke about the bigger problem was because obviously I'm gagged. So the way to avoid my gags is to talk about the problem, not to talk about my case personally. So for people who go, oh, she doesn't talk about her case personally, yes, I name Aaron and Faith, yes, I name just District Judge Andrew Shaw, yes, I name PC Stephen Lawrence, and yes, I name Cheryl Osborne, social worker, of course, because they kidnapped my children. They unlawfully, unnecessarily, and they committed perjury, they committed false information, fact proven, I have the evidence, and You know, I can't wait for my day in court. It will be a medical negligence case. I am up for compensation of the likes in the reams of quite a few million, and not just a single number million, but a multiple number million, because of the level of consequences that it's caused since. And I'm glad I've gone through what I've gone through recently, with social services coming back in my life again and showing the level of persecution that gives, with me being accused that, you know, I'm setting it up and I'm trying to get kids taken. And actually, I actually got Aaron and Faith signed. I signed the fucking adoption papers, didn't I? Yeah, because I'm a cunt. I'm a raging fucking paedophile, rapist, childer who fucks their own kids and son. Fuck off these people. Seriously, I will get to the end of all of this. I will get, like, getting up and just having normal living where I get to go down to the markets and farm shops and do normal things and just help fundraise so other people can go in and do all the abolition work that, you know, mums like me can't do. So I like fundraising. I like putting on a ball gown and going to, you know, fundraising events that help other people go and do jobs that I can't necessarily do, because I don't really understand why everybody is going mad at people fundraising, because at the end of the day, if you are committing your life to do something that the Lord has asked you to do as well, you know, so those blessings will always come. And I think for me now, proving my innocence has become really important, and not because I have anything to prove to anybody, but because I want to filter the people who hindered out of my life. And it wasn't an easy place to be in, walking out of that door in Save the Family and saying, you move their bedroom stuff, you do it. Yeah, you do it. And literally leaving behind like an entire life of, well, I mean, I'd lost different bits and different stages as well, because of bits that had gone into storage that I'd lost, and bits that stayed at people's houses that I'd lost. But I'd managed to have the bulk of the main personal things that I needed, and the main things that me and the kids had that enabled us to be who we are. Because, you know, you can dance naked in the rain, can't you, really? But ultimately you need music playing, so someone's got to create that music, and someone's then got to put clothes on you and trainers on your feet or shoes on your feet. And you know, even the stage that's built, it probably takes 70 to 80 people to be able to get that done and dusted, you know what I mean? So, and one thing that annoys me as well is everybody seems to think, you know, they have this whole ego thing with me, that I'm this grand protected person and I've got all these people and family and all of this. I'm on my own. I'm on my own. I've been on my own pretty much all my life. It's just been me and my kids. And I have different communities that I blend in and out, be it that I've been at netball or the boys' clubs. But I was always the one on the outside. I'm Asperger's, remember? So it means I never really get fully involved. I'm not the person who it's their friend or whatever, because I just don't work that way, and I never will work that way. So someone like me, especially doing what I do, needs people around him who can have really kind, caring hands. And one of the things that's really important in what was said is the management and the care. And I've already had that done. I've already had those assessments done that say who and what sort of people need to be around me. And then also what they do is they then train your family and your friends and your community to understand that. And as long as they agree with it, then they're allowed. So that's what happens in a judicial review and in a court-appointed assessment. So that basically means that somebody like me who's diagnosed with what I'm diagnosed with, I'm allowed to have my good days, and I'm allowed to have the days where I struggle, and I'm allowed to have the times where it hurts me too much, and I'm allowed to have the days where it makes me not want to get out of bed in the morning. This is all known. It's all part and parcel of the management of this condition. So one of the things that, and I'm looking forward to it tomorrow, I'm going to do a whole thing on Valentine's tomorrow. I'm going to go right the way through from my first ever Valentine's Day card, right the way through to what Valentine's has meant to me all this through. Forget, obviously, Cupid, pagan and all of that, but what it's meant to me for a relationship and the sort of man that I have craved and desired all my life. You know, it's been something that's been a very, very long journey for me, because I've always wanted to be with my husband and my family, and you know, it's just the way that it is. I've never wanted to be single, struggling mum. Like, that's just hell for me. But that's the path that I'm now going to be taking. But that means I'm going to open myself up again to love and to marriage at some point. And you know, and I really do need to think about it, because I keep making the same mistakes when I get to this point. And when I got to that point prior to meeting Aaron and Faith's dad, I'd said to people, like, I'd literally just written the list of everything that I didn't want in the relationship, and it's always very clear. You know, I've never actually wanted to be a smoker, by the way. Just because I've used medicinal doesn't mean that I want to be associated to cannabis in any way, shape or form. I'm not part of anything that's involved in pothead or anything like that. If I want to use cannabis as medicinal, it's very, very different, and I need people to understand that around me as well, because otherwise I have to be morphined and tramadol. Even Liam said, after he got his results, the first thing they said to him was, you know, do you want to go, you know, start getting support? And that all they offered him was tramadol and morphine, and he just sort of went, no, sorry, I've seen my mum go down this path now. And that's really sad, and it is, because we deserve to be understood and have people around us. We don't deserve to be isolated and alienated, because we get into situations where people get so fucking frustrated with us because they think it's a game, they think we're playing. You know, what was really difficult when I was married was I tried to hold on to netball for so long. Like, I really, really, really tried to hold on to my netball for so long. That was actually when I first ever got into cannabis, and I sat down with a consultant and, you know, talked openly about the drugs that I was on and how it was making me feel, and the docileness and all the side effects that were coming with it. And I'd already been through challenges with medication from 15 to 17, and then from 19 to 20, and 21 to 20, and you know what I mean? And it's just this cycle and cycle and cycle. So to get to a point in my life back in 2008-9, where I was actually maintaining consistent stability with my condition, and with the home, because that's the most important thing for me. I'm a right cunt when it comes to my home, seriously, because, you know, I'm one of these people, it's a bit empty, but I'm one of these people that runs tomatoes, beans, pulses, stuff, tuna, labels, face forward, pastas, rice, It's a bit junky in here at the moment, but I'm very particular about where my coffee is, where my sugar is. And the reason is because when I move my arms and stuff, and I go to get something, do you know how much fucking pain that causes me, or how much injury that causes me? So I like to know where things are. I like to be able to just get straight up in the morning. My trainers are always by my bed. My kids' clothes are always ready for, which I always do the night before. I'm one of them people that likes to prep the night before for a day, because I can't do this waking up in the morning, getting over the hurdles that I get over, and then going back into bed, you know, and not getting up and going. I've trained since I was 17. Like, I mean, I've had that mentality that I have to push my health for a long time now. And I've always, as a mother, gone to, you know, like a gym where they've had a creche. We tend to get there for like 10 o'clock in the morning, because that's when the creche used to be. It was 10 till 12. So I would go straight to the aerobics class first, then go to the gym, and then I would get the boys and we would go for a swim, and then go for lunch, and then that was their sleep, and then I would work in the afternoon. This is obviously prior to kids being of school age, because all my kids went to school. went to nursery. Aaron and Faith were in nursery, even though paperwork says they weren't. Aaron and Faith were at nursery. I can tell you exactly what nursery is, where they were, what childminder they had prior to that. I have all the paperwork that proves it, because obviously I had to pay the fees. So I actually have all of the receipts in my little thing in the cupboard. I've just never had this opportunity to present my court case in the way that they've done it. And I don't know if you saw recently, there was a court case done where a young lad has been bullied by the education and teachers, and he had his diagnosis, and they've ended up being awarded, he's been given 3 million just for one incident. Just one incident. I have had multiple incidences, but I think what's more apparent is the fact that I've had my children taken. It's created a whole smokescreen around me. And because I came out the way that I did with my gagging order, and as angry and hurt as I did, and it was actually people who found me, because I actually only put up online, they've got my kids' social services, I've got my kids, what do I do? And then obviously this network that actually already existed all came around me very quickly, and I got everybody's and then obviously I saw that Scott event, and then I met Belinda and Rose and Maggie down there, and I didn't actually accept their help. I wasn't, when you first sort of going out and you, like even tonight, right, I've had a thing where we're again, milk bread. I've got Jamie that I can go and ask. Jamie would lend me money if I ever need money. I can get money off Jamie. I just don't ever want to put Jamie in that situation, because he's so loving and he's so kind. He's got such a good heart, and I don't ever want anyone to take the piss out of him. So I wouldn't ever want him to ever, for me to ever take the piss by going, "Oh, Jamie, can you help me again?" So today I sort of went out on a little bit of a journey just to sort of see anything, like, can I pick a pound up? Because that's what I do. Can I pick a pound up on the floor? Do I find change? Is there enough change to find? You know, nothing will ever push me to shoplift milk and nappies and all that. It never. No, I don't care. I don't care how hard this gets. It's going to get even worse next month, because they're cutting out these court fees off me as well. And I owe 40 quid back out as soon as I'm paid anyway, to money that I borrowed here. So for me, and we're talking about money, it's always been about, what does somebody like me do for work? Because when I was sort of 13, I worked at Freeman Hardy in Willis, the shoe shop. You know, I was working for Bob Potter at Lakeside as a waitress, doing like silver service waitress in his clubs and his restaurants. And then I was doing telesales and all that sort of stuff. And then once it was sort of through school time, I did my work experience at a solicitor's office. I took my qualifications in business studies, law, and psychology. And psychology has been the route for me, not because of wanting to be a psychologist or a psychotherapist or anything like that, but because I was so sick of having psychologists and psychotherapists and everybody telling me it's in my head. And I'm thinking, no, I was going to go into sports, but obviously because my body is the way it is, I didn't go into sports. I did right up until sort of 21. 21 was the last time when I finally retired from netball. I think it was, I'd gone to take a shot. It was one of the biggest games that we could have been in for the league, and my shoulder froze. And if anybody knows netball, you're not allowed to rebound a ball. So I can't even in netball, if I'm standing to take a shot like that, and my shoulder, as you know, yeah, so if my shoulder freezes, I can't flip it to the other hand and shoot, because that's classed as a rebound ball. I can't even let go of the ball, drop it and pick it up, because that's classed as a dropped ball. So I just had to sort of stand there, and all of a sudden somebody thought, oh, hang on, what's going on here? And went and took it. And as the ball went, I went to took it and cracked my head up against the freaking goalpost and sparked myself out. That was the day that I decided I was going to go into coaching. So I went into netball coaching with kids first, and I qualified in football, not because I enjoy football, but because I was a youth worker, and we kept getting let down by you know, people who were meant to be coming to be the qualified football person. So I said, look, as long as there's somebody on site that's got the qualifications, then we can just have volunteers in. So if I qualified to do the football, then we can have it permanently and just get a couple of volunteers in, and that's fine, and I'll just be present. So that's what we did. So that's the reason why I've heard so many things about me being a lesbian and all sorts because of all this football qualifications. No, it was just so the kids could have football, and I was the registered youth work on site at the time. That's what happens when you work for a youth service. You get lots of certificates and lots of different things and lots of different training, such as child protection and all of these remits. But the problem with me with EDS was that every time we went on extreme activities and sports, I always ended up injured. And the problem with working for an authority, and certainly an authority that was NIFICA, which is Northern Ireland Forces Youth and Community Services, and the reason that I worked for the Army Youth Club was because I was a wife of the Army. So therefore my job was within the Army framework. So I worked for the Army. So I then decided that, and this is going back into 2000. This is 2000, 2001. Qualified youth worker. I was married, living in Northern Ireland, had 2 boys. We worked it quite well. You know, Graham got up early in the morning and went to work. I did what I did during the day, which was get up, go to the gym, do what I do, program, go out, get the shopping, ready for tea. And then I would go down to the youth club, open up, the kids would come with me. So my 2 boys grew up at the youth club with me, even from when they were breastfeeding, you know, they were with me. And then when I used to go and do the second bus run, I used to take the boys with me, and I would pick the boys up from the bus, and then he'd take them home, get them settled to bed, and then I would come home after I'd finished my shift. And then we would see each other in the evening, and then obviously during school holidays, I'll work during the day then, but then I did the evening shifts as well until 9. So I've always worked that's always been my hour slot. I've always had Tuesdays and Thursdays off to do my social stuff. And then obviously every other weekend, you know, Sunday, Fridays, Saturdays has always been my dance night, and you know, and Fridays has always been sort of like my meal out night. Do you know what I mean? Because people don't realise when you live in a home and you've got to pay bills, you've got to pay rent, you have to have a system in place. You know, you have to sit down on Friday for your budget and you have to sit down once a month, and you have to sit down 3 quarterlies, because if you don't, it mounts up. It's like ironing. Yeah, if I don't every Sunday take the hour that, well, it's an hour and a half because I usually put a film on. But, you know, if I don't take that hour and a half every Sunday, which I like, which is usually from 7:30 to sort of like 9 o'clock, where I do the ironing and watch film after kids have gone to bed, then next week when the washing goes in on Friday and goes through the drying on Saturday for the iron on Sunday. And the reason why would I do that? I would do that because children usually start school on Monday, job usually starts on the Monday. So for Monday, you've got to have uniform ready, you've got to have your work clothes ready, and you've got to have your new week all set up. So I'm very systematic like that for this 3-dimensional world. I can run this 3-dimensional world with a blueprint as easy as anything. What do you want to achieve? That's piss easy for someone like me. That's what I do. I write those blueprints. So if you go to Robbins, that's what we do. We set your blueprint. That's all we do. People have got so much conspiracy theories over shit, but that's all we do. We just give you the space to come out of your life for 3 days to just literally go, how the fuck did I get here? What is that ultimate dream that I really had? And how do I reset? And what is the strategy that I need to put in place to implement this happening? What am I doing that's getting my own way? And come back on. I'm on American time, guys, so I probably won't do this ending video probably until after midnight. I don't know yet. I need to just double check. I want to see where the hype's coming in, and obviously around the Super Bowl. So I'm going to be waiting until the Super Bowl get all ready and X'd up, and as soon as the Super Bowl hit in, if Amber has told me that the Super Bowl's already happened, I'm not happy, because this is why I'm doing this, because this is about taking little old me who's got jack shit support, certainly from the people around me, and I need to get to the people who can help me, and the only way I'm going to get to them is to be visible to these people, and to be in a situation where they go, I want to help this woman because I understand and I get it, and I can really see she just needs so much TLC right now, and she just needs people around her that she trust, and I need to hear that. I need to be around people who believe me. I need to be around people who understand my challenges with my body and support me wanting to dance, supporting me wanting to skate, and never give shit over, because I might be achy in the fucking morning because I pounded it out the night before, and just let me have them days. I've always done it on 3-day intervals. I tend to go hard for 3 days, soft for 3 days, hard for 3 days. And do you know why I do that? It was firemen that taught me that. That's why firemen do 3 days on, 3 days off, because they can't peak. So that's how it works. So firemen go 3 days on, 3 days off. And that's how I found something with management in my body, because like even with pain management, the longest I can go without pain management is about 3 hours. That's it. After about 3 hours of no pain management, I'm struggling. I'm in hell, and it's as simple as that. 3 hours, 3 hours without something that's trying to keep me, and I just don't want to go back to morphine. That's the problem with me. Morphine for me is a very nasty drug. Morphine is horrible. It's addictive. An opiate at the end of the day. It makes you very drowsy, very docile. It means you can't. If you watch Amber, if you watch, it's one of the footballers is coming through with it. If you watch on all of Mainframes, so there's going to be. I don't know who it will be this year. I do know. I can't think who it is. I can't think if Terence is Red X up. So have a look if Terence is Red Xing up. He might be. So have a look to see who's doing it at the Super Bowl. It's really, really big. Don't forget now, just because Amber had commented, so I'm just responding to the comment. Seriously, guys, I'm so exhausted from being around people who don't know me and living in eyes. I looked into somebody's eyes today and I saw so much hate for me, so much hate. Like, I'm not surprised if that's the way people think of me. And, I really desperately need to be around people who know feminine's off shit, Kelly. And I'm sick and tired of having to stand up for myself against bullshit now. And I'm going to have to go through it again with social. I'm going to sit in that room again and say what's right, what's wrong, and try to keep bringing this back to what this is about. This is about a woman who has EDS, who has children with a condition, that sometimes struggles to do little silly things. I've really loved pounding and walking around the last couple of days, but what I have noticed is my legs are flopping, and I'm not surprised people think I look like a fucking alcoholic walking down the road, because I do. I look like I'm staggering. And I'm sure if someone was videoing and walking behind me and watching the way that my duck flapping legs are working at the moment, straight away my physio will say I've got to put braces on my knees. But today I've given a young girl a bit of a chance. Actually, she's going off to study. She wants to do her stuff with dance. So I explained I actually had a conversation with her about what I'm struggling with, and she just went, "What? So you're trying to do this then?" And I was like, "Yes, that's what I'm trying to do." She was like, "Right, okay." So when she went down my head, she went, "Ah, I can feel it. Like I can, yeah." So she was able. So she'd all down and done some exercises with me. Stuff that I actually already know, but I sometimes like to give people the opportunity to teach, even if I do know. And it's not teaching me to suck eggs, it's giving them an opportunity to grow. Do you know what I mean? So, do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just sit there and that is teaching for the first. Flash, has it come back on? My internet tried to kick out. So anyway, I'm gonna go. So my neck is absolutely killing me. My head is absolutely killing me, and my jaw is absolutely killing me. My body's hurting. So I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to go and get into some form of mode and try to pull my shit together. And if Amber can do me a favor and start sending me over, send it in email just so I can just read it and get it into my head, or a video would be better if anyone's got a video, and I could just do with some stats that I'm going to regurgitate in a minute. So if you're going to be joining me, fantastic. So please don't interrupt me while I do this, because I've got to do in quite quick. I've got to bring it in with a beginning and a middle and an end. So I've got to bring it into how I first ever got involved with Hope for Justice through King's Church in Portsmouth, in Preston, in 2006, and then going to Creation Fest in 2007 with LZ7 and that, and then in between, and basically all I wanted to do was fundraise. Hence why I do parachute jumps and all of that sort of stuff. So within my own mainframe for Britain, the way that I was going to be funding it is just how every other company business fund it, is they have balls. So you have 4 balls a year, fundraisers, how you fund the wages of your staff. And then you have your core team that go and do sponsor stuff. So that's how you do your pro bono work to support people with petrol and budgets to get out to families. And obviously then if you're doing rehabilitation programs or residentials or things like that, and you've got to fund somebody going on a residential, then that money tends to come through people who are partners or sponsors who choose to sponsor a family. And that's pretty much how social services and the adoption agency works. The adoption agency is funded by people like would be me and you that would pick up a sponsorship form and go and jump out of a plane or go and climb a mountain or do a walk or something like that. Then they have government funding that they apply for. Then they have sponsorship from the lottery funding that they apply for. Then people apply to the Arts Council for funding if they want to do projects like that. So it's all about leveraging money at the end of the day. So it might be that, like you see these things where people pay £1 a month because £1 a month from 100 people is £100. And £100 might be the petrol it takes to get, I don't know, do you know what I mean? The abolitions that go through the doors